The year is 2017. Bitcoin is gaining mainstream attention. People are excited about its potential to revolutionize finance, but there's a problem. Bitcoin can only process a limited number of transactions per second. This limitation is causing congestion on the network. Transaction fees are skyrocketing. Something has to give. This is the story of how the Bitcoin community faced its first major scaling challenge. The bottleneck stemmed from Bitcoin's block size limit. Blocks are like containers for transactions. They are added to the blockchain, Bitcoin's public ledger. The block size limit restricted how many transactions could fit into each block. As Bitcoin's popularity grew, the network became congested. It was like trying to fit an ever-increasing flow of traffic onto a narrow road. This congestion led to a heated debate within the Bitcoin community. At stake was the future direction of the network. Would Bitcoin scale to accommodate global adoption, or would it remain a niche technology? The debate centered around two main solutions: increasing the block size and implementing a second-layer solution called the Lightning Network. Despite off-chain scaling and increased utility, the Lightning Network increases complexity for users by having to manage channel liquidity. It also still results in fee pressure when users eventually want their Bitcoin. The most adopted solutions are custodial Lightning Network solutions, which increase risks of censorship. The scaling debate was not merely a technical disagreement. It was a philosophical clash about the very nature of Bitcoin. Some believed Bitcoin's primary value was its decentralization. They argued that increasing the block size would lead to centralization, and therefore diminish censorship resistance and ability to resist inflation. Others prioritized Bitcoin's use as a payment system. They wanted to improve transaction throughput and reduce fees. The debate culminated in August 2017 with the creation of Bitcoin Cash. The Bitcoin Cash fork was a pivotal moment in Bitcoin's history. It marked the first time that the community had split over a technical issue. The fork resulted in two separate cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin (BTC) and Bitcoin Cash (BCH). Both cryptocurrencies share the same transaction history up to the point of the fork, but they have different blockchains. The Lightning Network, a second-layer solution. The Lightning Network was envisioned to be a decentralized network that would operate on top of the Bitcoin blockchain. It was hoped to allow for near-instantaneous, low-fee transactions that can be scaled to handle a global user base. It would achieve this by moving transactions off the Bitcoin blockchain and onto a network of payment channels. But what are the trade-offs, and why hasn't this been adopted at scale? Here's how it works. Two parties who want to transact with each other open a payment channel by locking up a small amount of Bitcoin on the blockchain. They can then send transactions back and forth to each other through this channel without broadcasting each transaction to the entire network. Only the final balance of the channel is settled on the blockchain when the channel is closed. But in order to remain decentralized, users must open channels, manage liquidity, and always be online, which imposes risk of theft, forced channel closing, and complicated user experience. These drawbacks have hindered adoption and led to custodial centralized solutions being the primary growth path for Lightning Network adoption. Isn't this ironic? The whole idea for not siding with the Bitcoin Cash side of the debate was to maintain decentralization and security, yet now Lightning Network proponents have moved to marketing custodial solutions. Decentralization versus efficiency, a delicate balance. The Bitcoin scaling debate ultimately boils down to a trade-off between decentralization and efficiency. Increasing the block size improves efficiency. It allows the network to process more transactions per second, but it also makes the network more expensive to run, which could lead to centralization. The Lightning Network, on the other hand, attempted to preserve decentralization and failed. The cost of increased complexity has been a burden the market could not handle. There is no easy answer to the question of which scaling solution is better, as both haven't materialized into any significant growth. If you want to maintain censorship resistance and protection from debasement, then both increasing the block size or relying on custodial-level Lightning Network solutions don't solve the scaling problem. Measuring success, has Bitcoin scaled? Years after the scaling debate and the implementation of SegWit and the Lightning Network, the question remains, has Bitcoin successfully scaled? The answer is decisively no. No, it hasn't scaled hardly at all, despite the hundreds of millions of dollars in marketing efforts and development. If we look solely at on-chain transactions, Bitcoin's throughput has not increased significantly since 2017. This means that Bitcoin has not yet achieved, nor will likely ever achieve, the throughput necessary to serve the world's demand for money. However, focusing only on on-chain transactions and individual chain scaling misses the bigger picture. There is a trend in the blockchain growth that hasn't caught most people's attention yet, as the narrative is still focused on trying to do the impossible. If we closely analyze the data, we can see that as Bitcoin fees rise, another chain has grown in adoption. Beyond Bitcoin, the rise of Litecoin. The solution to the scaling problem will be presented after analyzing the numbers. What has grown in adoption above the likes of Lightning Network and Bitcoin Cash is another blockchain. That blockchain is Litecoin. A solution not often spoken about that received no hype was the idea of substitution. This economic concept is simple enough but hasn't received attention because it's never happened in a money before. The market's path of least resistance is not to use credit layers or another chain with larger blocks, but to use the thing most similar to Bitcoin itself, which is Litecoin. The only cost imposed on the market is the exchange cost between the two, and if that cost is lower than the cost of using just one, it will continue to happen. As Bitcoin fees rise, users have increasingly turned to Litecoin for transactions due to its similar properties and lower fees. Litecoin, often referred to as the silver to Bitcoin's gold, offers faster block times which result in a faster first confirmation, which some users may find to be a better experience. This phenomenon demonstrates an important aspect of the cryptocurrency ecosystem. When one solution faces limitations, the market naturally gravitates towards alternatives that offer a better balance of efficiency and cost, the path of least resistance. The adoption of Litecoin as a substitute highlights the flexibility and adaptability of the marketplace. Instead of being confined to a single solution, users and businesses can choose the most practical option available. This organic shift towards Litecoin underscores its growing role in the broader cryptocurrency landscape, yet speculators have not realized its potential. As we delve deeper into the numbers, it becomes evident that Litecoin has carved out a significant market for itself, providing a practical alternative for those seeking to avoid the high fees and congestion associated with Bitcoin. And as these problems will only grow worse, even in speculative bull markets, it is likely that Litecoin gains significantly in usage and is poised for a large narrative shift. This trend is a testament to the dynamic nature of markets. Analyzing the numbers. To truly assess Bitcoin's scaling progress, we need to examine both proposed solutions and their respective growth rates. We'll look at on-chain numbers, as these blockchains are public and thus available for trend analysis and adoption statistics. Other areas of interest are examining the largest commerce platforms for crypto in the world. We will look at this data and decipher the trends to forecast the future in an ever-changing macroeconomic environment. Stay tuned for our next video, where we break down the numbers and show you what is likely to be a better store of value than Bitcoin itself.